You ever watch someone chase the glow so hard that they forget who they are, and by the time they finally feel seen, it's like the spotlight is empty? That's the feeling that hit me the first time I watched this story play out, a story about a kid who just wanted to be close to the fire, and a star who didn't notice the burn until the smoke filled the room. And listen, I don't mean monster versus angel. I mean two people building a house out of attention, validation, and little lies, and then acting shocked when the walls don't hold. If you've ever wanted something so bad that you shaped yourself to fit the door, you're going to feel this in your bones. Let me take you back to where it starts. You're at work, just another shift, just another day where your name tag feels heavier than your own name. Then someone walks in, a face you know from your feed, a face that usually lives on stage, in clips, in comments. But here, he's real. He's buying something basic. He's tired. He's alone in a weird way that only people who are always surrounded can be. You play it cool. You don't fan out. You act like you don't even know who he is, even though you do. And that choice, that little trick of pretending not to know, becomes the key that unlocks his world. One text turns into another. One favor becomes a job. One night out becomes a routine. You feel the door swing open, and you step inside like you've been invited to your own future. At first, it's beautiful because it's easy. You make yourself useful. You help with little tasks. You say the right things. You start to learn what he likes, but not in a creepy way, at least, that's what you tell yourself. It's research. It's care. It's the art of being needed. And if you've ever felt invisible, you know how addictive that is. You're not just there, you're essential. You can feel it. He trusts you, or he trusts the version of you that knows how to be quiet when he's tired and loud when he needs energy. You become the guy who can plug the leaks and patch the holes. You're not a fan, you're a friend, no, you're family. That's what you tell yourself on the train home at 2 a.m. when your phone keeps buzzing and your chest is too full to sleep. But the thing about getting close to someone who lives under lights is this: the lights don't turn off, they just shift. You start to see the cracks you weren't supposed to see. The way his friends hover like planets, the way they pull tides and start little storms just to feel gravity. The way approval is a currency, and every look, every nod, every tag is a paycheck. You learn the rhythms of the room: who speaks first, who laughs too hard, who only shows up when there's a camera pointed. And you play along. You play better than anyone thinks you will. You tell yourself you're protecting him, but what you're really protecting is your place in the picture. Here's where it turns, and if you've ever held onto a friendship that was half real and half performance, you know this turn like a bruise. The invitation's slow. The messages get shorter. Somebody whispers that you're getting too involved. A manager smiles with all teeth and no warmth. A friend who was joking with you last week is now looking past you like your stage crew. And the person you thought saw you for you starts to blink, like they're trying to remember how you got here. That's when panic comes. Not the loud kind. The quiet kind that sits in your gut and asks, "What are you without this?" Let me break it down, because this is where a lot of us get stuck, not just in fame circles but in regular life too. 1. You build your value around what you can do for someone else. 2. You believe access equals intimacy. 3. You confuse being needed with being loved. 4. You treat your own life like a side quest. 5. When the access gets threatened, you don't let go, you double down. And 6. Doubling down always looks like control dressed up as care. If any of that sounds familiar, I'm saying this with love: I've been there. I see you. And this story is a mirror. Our guy doubles down. He becomes the fixer. The planner. The shadow who knows when the car should be ready, when the drink should be cold, when the post should go live. He studies the feed like it's a Bible. He learns the pattern so well that he stops asking what he wants. He tells himself it's not about clout, even as he measures his worth by being tagged, being seen in the background, being the who's that in the comments. And the machine loves someone like that, because it can eat you and still call it love. But machines don't hug you back. They buzz. They glow. They keep you awake. When things get messy, and they always do in rooms where power is a game and attention is oxygen, he reaches for leverage. Not because he's evil, but because he's scared. You know that feeling when something that made you feel alive starts slipping, and you would do anything to stop it? Anything that lets you say, "Look, I matter." That's the knife edge. You don't notice you're bleeding until you've cut the thing you're trying to hold. I want to pause here and make it plain, because people love to turn stories like this into simple villains and simple victims. The star isn't innocent, either. He loves the devotion. He loves the way you orbit him, the way the room tilts when he walks in. He says he hates the noise, but he drinks it. He keeps people around who keep the fire going, even if the smoke chokes everyone else. He can't decide if he wants family or followers, so he tries to have both. And that's how someone like you slips in and sets up camp onto the stage. There's a moment I won't spoil what starts at where the circle tightens. People get suspicious. Friends draw lines, managers push back, old loyalties shake. You're pointed at like a problem, but you can't leave because leaving would mean admitting it was never about friendship, it was about access. So you fight to stay. You become louder, sharper, more useful. You promise you can be the solution. You tell him you're the only one who really understands what he needs. That's how obsession dresses itself, as service. And then comes the part that hits like a cold mirror. You get what you thought you wanted, people know your name. They've seen your face in pictures, in stories, in videos that aren't even about you. A stranger stops you and says, "Hey, aren't you that guy?" And your heart jumps because yes, finally, you exist. But then they ask the question that burns a hole through the middle of you, what do you do? Not who do you know? Not who are you with? What do you do? And your mouth opens, but the only answer you have is that you're near greatness, not that you're making anything of your own. That's the end and not the end. It's the truth. A lot of us are living in quieter ways. Maybe it's not celebrity. Maybe it's work. Maybe it's a relationship where your value is the errands you run, the problems you solve, the way you shape yourself to fit the other person's outlines. You feel seen, but only as a reflection. You feel important, but only in borrowed light. And the day comes when someone asks you, without meaning any harm, who are you if you're not standing next to them? Let me explain why that final beat stays with me. It isn't punishment. It's a diagnosis. It's the film grabbing your shoulders and saying, this is what happens when identity is built from the outside in. It's not just about fandom. It's about any space where attention becomes food. Social media taught us to track our lives like growth charts. More likes, more views, more comments, more proof. But proof of what? That we are? That we matter? And if the proof stops, do we stop too? That's the question hiding under the last scene, the one that makes your chest feel tight because you know how close you've come to living like that. Let me break it down again, simple and quick. What pulls you in? Access feels like love. What keeps you there? Usefulness feels like safety. What turns it toxic? Control feels like care. What it costs? Your name, your voice, your center. What's left at the end? Recognition without meaning. That's the trade. That's the trap. And if you've ever been the person who becomes small so someone else can be big, you know exactly how quiet that trap can be. There's another angle I want to talk about, because it's easy to blame the kid and move on. But the culture we've built is a machine that turns humans into brands and friendship into strategy. Stars aren't just people anymore, they're projects. They're campaigns. Every post is a move on a board, and every person in the room is either a piece or a player. When you step into that kind of room, it's almost impossible not to start thinking in moves. Who is useful? Who is loyal? Who is dead weight? And once you let those questions drive your choices, you stop asking the ones that matter, who am I? What kind of person do I want to be? What do I make when no one's watching? So here's the heart of it, the part that hurts and heals at the same time. If you recognized yourself in any piece of this, if you've ever chased someone else's light so hard you forgot your own, this is your sign to pull back and breathe. You are not a supporting character in your own life. You don't have to audition for a role that costs you your name. Attention is not love. Access is not belonging. Proximity is not purpose. Say that out loud if you need to. Proximity is not purpose. And if that line hits you, stay with it. Let it sit in your chest until it finds a home. I know someone is going to ask, but what about the star? Does he get better? Does he learn? Look, here's the honest answer, the machine keeps going. The shows go on. The career moves forward because that's what careers do when there's money and momentum. But the circle around him, the friends, the crew, the people who used to laugh loud and stay late, that circle doesn't look the same. Trust is fragile. Once it breaks, the edges stay sharp. He gets what he wants and loses what he didn't know he needed. That's the cost on that side of the story. It's not immoral. It's just gravity. Let me break it down one last time like a list you can carry with you. 1. If you want to be close to greatness, build something great inside yourself first. 2. If you enter a room by pretending to be less than you are, you'll have to keep pretending to stay. 3. If your worth lives in someone else's eyes, you'll starve when they look away. 4. Make work. Make art. Make anything that is yours. 5. Be the person who can walk away, not the person who clings. 6. Love people for who they are, not for what standing next to them does for you. 7. Remember that fame is a funhouse mirror. What you see is never the whole person. 8. Get comfortable being unseen while you build. That's where the real stuff grows. If you're still with me, I want to talk to you like we're old friends texting at midnight. I made this because this story won't let go of me. It keeps tapping my shoulder, reminding me how easy it is to drift into a life that looks loud but feels empty. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for me. I want us to have real names, real voices, real work we're proud of when no one's watching. I want us to take up space that's ours, not space we borrowed from someone else's shine. And if you're thinking, that sounds nice but I don't know where to start small. Start with one honest sentence about what you want when nobody is around to clap. Here's my ask, and I mean it. If this hit you, if you felt your own life in these words, don't just scroll. Talk to me. Drop a comment and tell me one place where you've built your worth on someone else's approval, and one thing you're going to do this week that's for you and only you. Hit like so more people who need this can find it. Subscribe if you want more conversations that don't sugarcoat, that don't bark orders, that just tell the truth and sit with you in it. Share this with a friend who keeps standing in someone else's shadow and calling it home. I'm not saying this because of the algorithm, I'm saying it because I want this to be a room where we remind each other who we are. To the people who feel unseen, I see you. To the ones who got close to something bright and forgot their own light, you can get it back. Take your name out of storage. Put it on your chest like it belongs to you. Because it does. And when someone stops you and asks what you do, I want you to smile and tell them about the thing you're building, the thing you love, the thing that doesn't need a tag or a mention to be real. That's the ending I want for all of us. Not a question mark in someone else's story, but a full sentence in our own. If you're ready for that, stick around. We're just getting started.